Good morning, students. I welcome you to this class where we will be starting a new chapter. This is a very interesting chapter because what all we have discussed in the properties of steam chapter and the previous chapters, all those things will be now applied in a subject where we will get to know about the applicability of thermodynamics, and we will know how power is generated in the thermal power plants and what is the thermodynamics behind it. Okay, power plant power plants have got many issues like power generation, distribution, and then storage, and then other accessories, disposal of ash, and all other things. But those are the technical aspects. Today we will learn and know what is the thermodynamics, basic thermodynamics or basic thermodynamic cycle on which the power plants are operating. Okay, so basically how power is generated, how electricity is generated. If you go to the basic law of electricity, the Lenz's law and all that, if an armature rotates in a magnetic field, if there's a magnetic field with north and south pole, and if an armature is a bundle of conducting wires, if that armature rotates in a magnetic field, then it cuts the lines of forces, magnetic lines of forces, and electricity is generated. This is the basic principle of generation of electrical power. So after the electricity is generated, the its distribution and its kind of gridding, that part is of electrical engineers, but the rotation of the armature in the magnetic field is our job. That is the job of mechanical engineer. And what should be the speed of rotation of that armature? The Is it 10 rpm, it is 20 rpm, is 100 rpm? Actually it is very high. It is so high that it cannot be manually done. It cannot be done by employing any animals like horse or any other thing. So it is to be done by means of some other mechanism, because the rotational speed of armature is very high, and in a power plant that armature is connected to a turbine, and the turbine has to be rotated at a speed as high as 30,000 rpm. Then only power can be generated at 50 hertz frequency. So what should be done so that the turbine can be rotated at the speed of 30,000 rpm? That is our job. Okay, the job of mechanical engineers. So who will make the turbine rotate? So in a thermal power plant, it is the high pressure steam that makes the turbine rotate. Now question comes, how and why and how and where the steam will be generated. Steam is generated in a steam generator. A steam generator is normally ordinarily called a boiler, where water will be supplied, heat will be supplied, the water will absorb heat and will become steam. But this is to be done at high pressure, as I told you, because it's the high pressure steam which will only be able to drive the turbine with that high rotational speed. So you require a boiler, you require a turbine, and then in order to bring that pressure to that high pressure, bring that water to that high pressure, you require a, what is the pressure boosting device for a liquid? For a liquid, the pressure boosting device is a pump. So there has to be a pump. And then the steam, after rotating the turbine, where does it go? It has to go somewhere. Either you throw it out, leave it to atmosphere, or you can find out a way of reusing it. If you want to reuse it, then it is to be made again water, liquid water. So steam has to be condensed, so there has to be a condenser. So in a steam power plant, therefore there are four essential units are a boiler, then a turbine must be there. These are the four essential units, which is followed by a condenser and then a pump. What does the boiler do? Boiler will do, it will generate steam. That means it will convert water to steam. It is just a container where water will be contained or water will be continuously supplied. It is an open system. Heat will be continuously supplied, and water, by absorbing heat, will get converted to steam at high pressure, and that high pressure steam, there has to be an outlet to the boiler where the high pressure steam will come out from. Okay, then turbine, that high pressure steam will go to the turbine. I will tell what are the turbine mechanism, where it will spend some of its energy and do some work. What is the work done? The steam will expand, and expansion of steam is always accompanied by positive work. So that work will be done by the turbine. Then, and we have done this kind of problem in the steady flow energy equation, that enthalpy, the water, the steam with this enthalpy enters the turbine, goes out with that enthalpy, there is enthalpy drop, then H1 minus H2, that is equal to the W dot. So that things will be, actually we will see what is happening. Then the used steam, which has already done its work of rotating the turbine at the required speed, will come out of the turbine after doing the work. Now it was rich in enthalpy. Now after doing the work, it has spent its energy, most of its energy. So it is a low energy content steam, and that will be condensed in the condenser and will be pumped back to the boiler again. So these four are the essential units. There are other accessories, additional units, but without the four essential units, a power plant cannot function. And how they are connected? Let me draw a block diagram or flow diagram, which will give you an idea about how these units are connected. So there is a boiler. This is a schematic diagram. There is a boiler. After the boiler, you have a turbine. This is a turbine. And steam, since we are talking of steam power plant, it is a steam turbine. From the steam turbine, the steam will go to a condenser, where it will become water again, and that water will be low pressure water. So this low pressure water will be pumped to the boiler pressure, which is high. Okay, so there will be a pump. So this is the basic diagram, and the cycle operates this way. Any cycle that is clockwise will give you positive work, and this is a clockwise functioning of the cycle. So there will be a boiler, there will be a steam turbine, followed by a condenser, and which will be connected to a pump. Okay, so these are the four essential units. Now, when the working substance here is steam, no doubt, but it is steam here only. When it comes out of the boiler, it is steam. Before that, it is water. So it is a two-phase arrangement or two-phase activity, where both water and steam, that means H2O in liquid form and in vapor form, is participating in the power generation. So it is a two-phase activity, and whenever this working substance is flowing past a device, say boiler or turbine or condenser or pump, then it is also undergoing a change of state. So some of its properties are changing, as a result of which some effect is obtained. In case of a turbine, the effect is positive work. In case of a boiler, the effect is like give heat given as input, and so on. Okay, so we will see that when it goes to a boiler, if its state point is 1, then when it comes out of the boiler, it is 2. That means point 1 and point 2 are 2 points which can be located in the PV or TS or HS diagram. Okay, so there exists a difference of properties between point 2 and point 1. Similarly, when it enters the steam turbine, it is at point 2. When it comes out of the steam turbine, it is at point 3. Remember, we were solving this kind of problem in steady flow energy equation, where we were taking one turbine or something as a steady flow device. There is an inlet 1, 2, and then we are finding H1 minus H2 half mv1 square by half mvs v2 square, etc. So it is just that. Alright. Then when it enters the condenser, it is 3. When it comes out, it is 4. With condition 4, it will enter to the pump. In the pump, when it comes out, it is ready for being fed to the boiler. So it is 1. So there are 4 state points. 1, 2, 3, 4. In between 1, 2, you have boiler. In between 2, 3, you have the turbine. In between 3, 4, you have the condenser. and in between 4 and 1 you have the pump. Now between any two state, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, there exists a unit and there exists a change of state. That means between 1 and 2 there is a process, thermodynamic process. Between 2 and 3 there is another process. 3 to 4 is another process. 4 to 1 is another process. So finally the working substance is coming back to point 1. Starting from 1 it is again coming back to 1. That means the working substance, when it is going past the 4 units one by one, it is completing a thermodynamic cycle. Because its properties are regained, it is coming back to its original state. That is 1. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 and 4, 1 will be constituting a thermodynamic cycle. Now we will draw that cycle and we will name it. It has a name as far as the power plant functioning is concerned, and then later on we will analyze it point by point and process by process. So let me try to tell you that 1 to 2 is boiler, 2 to 3 is steam turbine, 3 to 4 is condenser, and 4 to 1 is pump. What are the processes? A person called Rankine designed this cycle and named after him the it is called Rankine cycle, and it has 4 processes. One is followed by the other, and one is connected to the other, the second one is connected to third one is connected to fourth one, back to the point 1. So it completes a closed cycle. And what are the processes? In the boiler, the process is constant pressure heat addition. This is constant pressure, this is reversible adiabatic expansion of steam. This is constant pressure heat rejection. Because again the second law comes into action here. Second law says, Kelvin Planck statement says, if you want to have a cyclic device or cyclic arrangement, and if you want to get some work, then you have to supply heat at one place from the source, and you have to reject heat from another to the sink. So there has to be Q1 and Q2. So here the Q1 is in the boiler and Q2 is in the condenser. And these two processes, 2 to 3, is a reversible adiabatic expansion. This is a reversible adiabatic compression. If you see, this is just like, somewhere it is similar to Carnot cycle. In the Carnot cycle, you have isothermal heat addition, you have here isobaric heat addition. Then you have reversible adiabatic expansion there, you have reversible adiabatic expansion here. There you have a isothermal heat rejection, that is not possible practically. So you have isobaric heat rejection here, and then you have reversible adiabatic compression. So there are same 4 processes. One heat addition, one heat rejection, one adiabatic expansion, one adiabatic compression. And we will be plotting this and representing the processes in solid lines. That means we are assuming at the very first place that the cycle is reversible, the processes are reversible, because otherwise we cannot do any mathematical analysis on the cycle, right? So if you plot this in the TS diagram, in the TS diagram you have the dome. Now the boiler, the heat addition in the boiler is like this, because it is high pressure. Okay, so let me tell you, 1 to 2 is the heat addition in the boiler. Then 2 to 3 is the reversible adiabatic expansion. Reversible adiabatic means isoentropic. Isoentropic means it will be a vertical line. Then 3 to 4 is condensation. You can see this is vapor and this is liquid here. And 4 to 1 is reversible adiabatic compression. So this is the cycle. The first process is 1 to 2 is taking place in the boiler. The second one is in the turbine. This is the condenser. And this is the pump. Okay. So this cycle is called the Rankine cycle. Rankine cycle is the basic cycle on which all thermal power plants do operate. Power plants have four essential units: a boiler, a turbine, a condenser, and a pump in this sequence. And when the working substance, that is water or steam, goes past a particular unit, it undergoes a change of state and undergoes a process. That process is represented here. Those processes are represented here. So the processes are reversible constant pressure heat addition process in the boiler, where it is from subcooled region, it is coming to the boiling point or saturation temperature at which the phase change is taking place. It is becoming superheated vapor here. Then it is expanding in the turbine. What is expanding? The steam is expanding in the turbine and it is reaching this point. This point falls on the transition zone. Why in the transition zone, that I will tell later on. Then 3 to 4 is the condensation curve. This is a straight line because this speaks of phase change where temperature and pressure both remains constant. At 4 it becomes saturated liquid where it is pumped back to 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, a reversible constant pressure heat addition process, a reversible adiabatic expansion process, a reversible constant pressure heat rejection process, followed by a reversible adiabatic compression process. These four processes together constitute a cycle called Rankine cycle. Right? And you know that in a TS diagram, the area under the curve is heat transfer. So area under point 1 to 2 is this area. This area. So this area is the heat supplied because it is in the increasing direction of entropy. Thus this is Q1. That means this is the amount of heat. This area is representing the amount of heat given to the steam in the boiler. And condenser, this has no area under it because it is a reversible adiabatic process, so no heat transfer, so area under that is also 0. Area under this is also 0. So 3 to 4, area under curve 3 to 4 is the heat rejected by the steam in the condenser. Heat rejected by the steam in the condenser. So if you look at the TS diagram, you can know that this big area is the amount of heat supplied and this rectangle is the amount of heat rejected. The difference is area bound by the cycle and that is Q1 minus Q2 or the net work done. So that net work done divided by Q1 is your efficiency of the cycle. So efficiency of the cycle is like any other cycle, 1 minus Q2 by Q1. This is not T2 by T1 because this is not Carnot, this is a real cycle. So the efficiency is 1 minus Q2 by Q1. So this is the basic cycle on which we will discuss what are the modifications done later on, how do we analyze this cycle, how do we locate the points 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Mollier diagram because it is for steam. How do we get properties at point 2, point 3, point 4, etc. And from those property, how do we get the real thing like what is the work done by the turbine, what is the power output of the plant, what is the heat input in the boiler, what is the efficiency of the plant, what is the steam rate, what is the heat rate, and so many things we can find out for what is the mean temperature of heat addition. So all those things we can analyze from this diagram, but we must understand completely the basic cycle, basic Rankine cycle, which has got four simple processes. All processes are assumed to be reversible and all processes are joint head on like this, 1 2 with 3, 3 with 4, 4 with 1, and they form a closed cycle. And every process in this cycle represent the activity taking place in a particular unit of the plant, such as boiler, condenser or turbine or pump. Okay, so this was for today. In the next class we will move further. Thank you.